Hey, this is RJ May, and you're watching Mr. Mario 2011.
Hey, what is going on, everyone? It is me, Mr. Mario, and today I am bringing you this little random commentary that I had thought about, and I was actually thinking of making this for quite a while, but just decided to make it now. So, anyways, topic I'm covering today: meeting friends online and how it is. So, I'll give you a little bit of a prelude to this. I feel like every time I feel like I make a last video, I always make a +1 to it, I guess, but I don't have any more Canada footage that I can use, unfortunately. Well, anything that I haven't already used. But in case you all don't know, for spring break back in March, I went up to Canada to visit a few friends that I've only known online. I knew them back from Call of Duty 4, and then we mostly stayed friends since then. I know there's a few people that I've dropped contact with and whatnot, but the person I was staying with was Tanner, or Tan Squid, as some of you might know him if you've seen some of my gameplay videos here and there. And he's the one person I've kept in contact with the most. There was also Jamie, who I met, and then a few other people up there as well. And there were actually, there were two people that I was supposed to meet, and then just didn't happen. Both of them kind of flaked out on me, unfortunately, which, one of them I kind of half expected. The other one, he should be ashamed of himself. I'll keep it at that. Anyways, I wanted to talk about how the experience is like for anybody who might be in that situation, whatnot. Well, first off, I will say this. Before I went to Canada, I really didn't tell many people what I was doing. People knew I was going up to Canada, people knew I was meeting friends, but the only people I told, explicitly were like 2 or 3 people who were, my best friends. And I had told them, hey, I'm going to be going up to Canada, I'm going to be meeting, some friends I've known online and whatnot, and they thought it was awesome. And of course my parents knew as well. So I told them and whatnot, just so, they know for my safety and whatnot, where I'm going, where I'm going to be staying, in case anything happens, anything like that. And there were actually, I believe there was at least like 1 or 2 people where, I kind of threw the idea around with them, because this was something that I had started formulating to myself probably the 3rd quarter of 2013. The idea itself, I put it on Tanner, like we talked about it near the end of last year, and then it was actually Christmas. That's when like the plans were solidified, and by early January I had bought the tickets and did the car rental and everything. But there were at least 1 or 2 people that when I was telling them, they thought I was just like blowing smoke, and they're like, okay, yeah, you'll go up to Canada, right. And they didn't really believe me, like actually believe me, until I told them, yeah, I just bought the tickets. But anyways, it's always good to plan early for these things, and I'll say this, I have known these guys, the people I was meeting, for at least 5 or 6 years. So, these are people I knew pretty well, but at the same time, because I only knew them online, you don't always know them 100% for certain. And the funny thing is, my dad actually called me up the day before I left, and he's like, okay, Daddy, here's the deal, alright? You don't know these people. I'm like, well, I've known them online for a while. We've been friends for quite a few years. He's like, yeah, you've known each other online, but you don't actually know them. This is your first time meeting. And I said, yes. He's like, okay, listen, when you go there, let us know of everything that's going on. If there is something over there, if the people make you uncomfortable, if there's anything in the apartment that makes you uncomfortable, I was staying in Tanner's apartment, just so you all know. He's just like, yeah, just make an excuse, leave, find a hotel, we'll find a way to get you back here. I'm just like, dang, is this like Taken or something? Come on, Dad, man, don't freak me out. But he honestly had a really good point. And the funny thing was, at the end of the week that I stayed there, I was telling Tanner and his roommate, Ken, I'm just like, it's funny because my dad told me this before I left, and I'm really happy it didn't come to that, because you all are pretty awesome, but I would have been really disappointed if I came up here all this way and something like that happened. But always stay safe with what you're doing as well. I just want to condone that. But anyways, meeting up with someone online for the first time, and specifically a friend, and this is a friend that you might have known for years on end and whatnot. I want to say, even if you are best friends with them, this is at least my experience, it will be a little awkward at the beginning. I would say the first like 30 minutes or so was awkward, and after that it was fine. And it wasn't even like really, you know, cringeworthy awkward, but I'll just put it like this. Like, when I got over to Tanner's apartment complex, I texted him, and he said, okay, my roommate's coming down. So I was like, okay, great. I'm in here. I've never been to this town. This is my first time, you know, traveling alone. Now I need to look for someone. I don't know who I'm looking for. So I waited, and then about a minute later, Tanner came down, and granted, we had seen each other several times before. He watches my videos, and then I've seen photos of him and videos of him as well. So we have seen each other before, but when I saw him, I was like, wait a minute, is this, because I'd never seen his roommate, I'm like, is this Tanner, or is this someone who kind of looks like him who's his roommate? It's funny, because he opens the door, and we just stare at each other for probably at least, like, 10 seconds or so, and then he just, like, laughs, and I don't remember if we had an exchange, but he just, like, laughs. I think I kind of laughed, too, and then we both hugged. Yes, that's bro moment, we hugged. And then we went up to his apartment, but, like, the first 20 or 30 minutes we were hanging out, it was really hard for us to maintain eye contact with each other. And I kind of attributed that to the fact that despite us knowing each other for so long, and despite us knowing what each other looked like, we still had never had any, you know, face-to-face, human-to-human contact until then. So going from exclusively voice, or going from a one-way medium of some kind, you know, as I said, I had seen him in photos and videos, he had seen me in photos and videos and whatnot. It's weird when there's finally, you know, a human-to-human, one-to-one, face-to-face conversation. But, you know, aside from that, then we had to head out and get batteries, and by the time we went to the corner store and back, I mean, we were good. It's just like, oh, yep, we're buddies, we're good. But that is the only thing. And I never really see anybody address things like that, but as I said, you could be like the best of best friends, but if it's a little awkward, it's fine. Don't worry about it. One thing I want to say as well is, as I was saying earlier in the commentary, I only told a few really good friends what was going on, and I would recommend doing that. Because, see, there is still a stigma behind meeting people online and whatnot. And especially, here's the thing. If you tell someone that you are going to meet someone online, like you're traveling or whatnot, they might think it's kind of creepy. They might think you're the creepy person. Now, if you tell them I met someone online, or, you know, I went up to, you know, like my example, I went up to Canada to meet some friends I've known for years, they think it's the coolest thing ever. They're just like, oh my god, that's awesome, you know, video games brought you all together, things like that. And that's kind of how it is with it overall. And you know, the funny thing is, there were friends I've had here who I have really good friends, or friends I've known for years, that I told after the fact that it happened. And I will say this, I never realized how many people I knew had met online friends in real life. Because it was funny, there's one of my good friends in class, I told him about it, and it was funny because after I told him, he kind of like eased up a little bit. He's like, oh, you know, that's awesome because I've known some friends off Guild Wars that I've, you know, known for at least 5 or 6 years, and we're going to be meeting each other for the first time. And I told this other girl that I know about what happened. She's like, oh, that's so cool. You know, when I was traveling to this place, I knew like 1 or 2 people that lived there, and we had, you know, Skyped and all that a lot, so we decided to meet up. And I'm like, how have I known you all for so long, and I didn't know about any of this? So with that, it's kind of nice being that person as well, because then you could either, you know, not really push people to do it, but kind of relate to them, or you can kind of ease them into it. Like, for example, as I said with my first friend, he felt a lot more comfortable talking to me about him meeting some friends online after he found out that I had just finished doing it. Aside from that, though, I want to say, if you're meeting, you know, online friends and whatnot, first off, be careful. I can't stress that enough, because I don't want anyone watching this commentary to get hurt later on. Second, make sure they are people that you know you're real good friends with. Now, if this is something like a Craigslist transaction or whatnot, that doesn't really count, although you still want to be safe. But like for me, for example, I was going over and I was staying with these guys for a week. So I was living with them, I was in foreign soil, everything like that. And one thing I would recommend is, if you have any qualms, to make it less awkward, just address the elephant in the room before you go over there. Like, one good example, let's say you don't drink alcohol, and, you know, you're gonna go over to your friend's house, and they've been known, they're not a drunk, but, you know, they do drink a little bit, and they like to get drunk here and there. And you just don't drink at all. Let them know ahead of time. Don't be that guy who makes it awkward when you get up there. if you all are talking on Skype or whatnot, just bluntly say it. Just be like, okay, listen, I'm coming up there in about a month. I gotta let you know of this. I know you like alcohol. I'm cool with that, but I don't drink, and I understand we're gonna be celebrating a bit up there, but I don't want to partake in that at all. So if you want to drink a little bit, cool, but I would appreciate it, you know, if you just like don't get all up in my face about it, if you don't try and force me to drink, anything like that. And I'll put it like this. If they say, okay, like if they have no issue with it, if they're just like, oh, yeah, no, that's fine, we totally understand, it's all good, then they're a good friend. You should be okay, hopefully. But if they try and, you know, push you around a little bit, they're like, oh, man, come on, man, you're gonna be up here, it's gonna be cool, man, it's not gonna hurt you that much, and you already established with them that that's something you do not want to do or partake in, you might want to reconsider your visit. That's what I would recommend. And that's just a basic friend thing overall. But that was one of those things, just like, if there are things that make you uncomfortable that, you know, they might partake in, they might do, just let them know and be like, yeah, you know, listen, you're a cool guy, I'd love to meet you and everything, but, you know, I'm not going to be doing this thing that you like to do, and I just want to let you know of that. And as I said, if they're a good friend, they're going to understand. And as I said before, a little bit of awkwardness is going to be expected, but once that happens, it's all good. But I would only really recommend meeting people that you're really, really good friends with. And you don't even have to be in my situation where I was friends with these guys for, you know, at least 5 years. I think that's acceptable. There are people that I've known for less than that. There are people I've known for like 1, 2, maybe 3 years where, you know, if I was over in their state and we were close enough, I'd be all like, hey, you know, I'm like 2 hours away from you. You want to meet up? Like, there's people I know like that where I wouldn't mind doing it. But there's a certain level of trust that goes with it as well. Like, for example, I'm not going to be going out of my way to meet a bunch of people on YouTube and whatnot. Actually, a good friend of mine before, we had talked about it and whatnot, and there's been people on here, and guys, I love you all, you know, you all are awesome, but there's been some people who, they have said, oh, you know, if you're in this area, or if you're around here and whatnot, I'd love to meet you and everything. And there was actually one guy on one of my Canada videos, and I'm not trying, normally I don't do this, I'm not even going to say the name, but, and I don't mean anything bad about this, but when he found out I was actually in his city, he commented, he's like, oh man, that's awesome, I would love to meet you, I had no idea you were up here and all this stuff. And to me, I'm just like, okay, listen, I know you've seen me in videos a lot, I don't know how much of me you've watched, but I've never seen, like, I've never seen the guy comment before, I'm just like, I've never seen you comment before, I've never talked to you, I don't know who you are. Also, I'm not there anymore, but if I was there, this would not happen because I literally have no idea who you are. You might know me from my videos, I don't know who you are, so I am not comfortable setting up a meetup for this. That's not going to happen, I'm sorry, man. But that's how it is, really, so honestly, in the end, the experience was totally worth it. It was awesome, and I feel like I grew a decent amount in that 1 week alone, just from all that. Anyways, this is Mr. Mario, signing off. Thank you for watching, everyone. Hope you all have a good day or night or wherever you're from.